Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Modern Minds. Today we are joined by a special guest to explore one of the most transformative tools in the digital workplace, which is Microsoft Copilot. We'll be diving deep into real-time scenarios where Copilot is making a measurable impact and discuss how it's reshaping business operations, decision making, and productivity across industries. I have the privilege of introducing Femke, a trailblazer in the digital workplace and AI innovation space. She's an MVP and a recognized strategy leader and a public speaker, driving transformation across Europe. Uh, Femke, before we dive in, how has your journey in tech, right, specifically on Microsoft 365 and now with Copilot? So we would like to hear on that before we jump into Copilot. Over to you.
Great. Thank you so much for having me and that you all doing this because it's really important that we have a lot of sharing around this kind of subjects around especially like Copilot and AI. I think a different kind of ideas is so important in the journey that we are at the moment. So thank you for that. So yes, I'm Femke Cornelissen. I live in the Netherlands. And I'm not really have a journey from like school in tech, coming in tech in this kind of way, because I was a photographer when I was younger. I had my own company, making a lot of pictures from people, sharing some creativity there, storytelling as well. So that's my background. And after that, I started because I wanted to start a family. Started my journey in tech as a marketeer. So I started there, and I'm now like 13 years already in tech. Started as a marketeer, and every time I see some new opportunities from marketing to team leads, productivity to adoption to business consultants to chief co-pilot at the moment. So my job title is chief co-pilot, and I absolutely love to share all the things around what I see in the market. And sometimes I think I'm a little bit a bridge between Microsoft's real world and what I see what's happening in the world from strategy part. That's a little bit what I like, and I absolutely love to share what I see what I see and what's happening in the markets and try to make some content around that because yeah, I think that's that we all need um, to keep informed and keep learning.
Thank you. So your journey was really inspiring. So I would like to hear from you. So what are the most effective strategies you have seen organization use to drive Copilot adoption? So the reason why I asked this question is I see some businesses enable Copilot for everyone right away, while
Yeah.
others take a slower, more cautious approach. So from your experience, which strategy works better and why?
Yeah, I see a lot of organizations starting with Copilot without any strategy. They just
Yeah.
giving some licensing to a few people. But I think the most important thing that you need to understand is leadership. Leadership need to be involved to get the best results because they need to understand that this is something more than just putting a licensing on, and this is like a new way of working. It's has so many impact on their organization, and things will change as well in their organization. For example, I'm talking with a legal company who are now working with an hour structure. So with they doing all everything in hours, and they need to change the whole way of working around that. So the leadership need to be involved in this area. The other one is that I'm thinking about is scenarios. We don't need to talk about this is new, this is new, this is what we can do about, but it's talking about scenarios and giving adoption around that kind of scenario. So people really feel it by themselves, what why they are using this tool, what's helping them, really helping them in their role, and not only in their role in their team and as well in their organization. And then you come as well, you're back in your leadership that need to be involved. And the third one I want to say when I'm thinking about what the best journey is learning culture, because everything goes so fast. Is that you don't want to do this like giving one training and say good luck, this is how you can use it, but it's a habit. It's a habit that you need to change, and they mostly say like 12 weeks you need to continue this and use it, and then you totally understand that this is a new way of working that you really need to get in your mind. I think it's more than that, actually. I think it's a culture of that you can say we do some promptons, we putting up a community together to share with each other what they have learned or what I have learned. Get some peers around you. So I think it's something that you keep need to do, because as well, like every day, new opportunities or new things coming out, and people get lost in what it means for me, what does it mean for my team, where do I, how can I use that? So I think when you have that under control with your culture and that everyone understands that it keeps evolving, then I think you're right. But I see a lot of organizations just put it on, and then people are lost in all the things that you can do.
Exactly. So I recently got to know the a non-tech company.
Mm-hmm.
So who has gained almost 70,000 Copilot license for their
Well,
employees, and without knowing what exactly the tool can do. But when Microsoft tries to understand the reason behind having 70,000 license purchase, the answer was from the leadership. They do not want to stay behind anyone. They
yeah,
wanted to
yeah,
be the number one in the market, saying that being a non-tech company, we have got Copilot for everyone in the organization. So they
that's
also took
a
this price
big
tag.
investment.
Yes, yeah. So interesting to know that. Yesterday I was with Microsoft and I got to know this information.
Mm,
Yeah,
that's really
getting that
interesting.
leadership is really important, as you pointed out, right? Like without that, it is very difficult to start navigating through your business units. And something which recently I figured out is right, like as an organization, you have to come up with your strategy. For example, you should know when to buy, when to adapt, and when to build, right? So, not everything can be solved with Copilot or an AI as a platform. So you have to think where to buy, and some places if there are adaptation required, for example, with Copilot, or it could be through applications, right? A lot of these applications comes up with your Gen AI solutions, right? So probably you might have to see where you can adapt, or if you want to
Yeah,
build internally, then again you have to see which use cases can be built internally from the scratch. So
true.
that's a mix. Yeah.
And every organization have like the business problems, and you need to discuss what the business problems are and how AI, doesn't matter if it's Copilot or Azure Foundry or what kind of solution, or an agent Copilot Studio, it doesn't matter what the solution is, but you really need to understand what the business problem is and how AI can help you to solve part of the
Yeah.
problem or helping there. And I think a lot of organizations don't really understand that the way of working is completely going to change in the business model, but as well in the culture in the organization. That really need to be something that get in mind to stay ahead. What you as well say, yeah, cool.
Yeah. So as Gokul and Ram mentioned, that's right. Like they procure without the actual groundwork to be done, right? So they need to isolate the business problem and the adaptability. So where they are going to pitch in and what is the normal flow, like how the normal thing works without Copilot, and they need to compare that, and that's how they come up with new agents and everything. That's the main thing, because I hear from people, they say we bought Copilot, it's helping in Outlook Teams, but after that, what is the next step? So they don't have an answer. So yeah, proper training is also required for that. Yeah, that's the thing. So I have another question for you, Femke. Like, what do you think on the security perspective? So, what is your thought on the security? Where when people speak about Copilot, there should be I mean, there are framework on the security perspective also to manage these agents. So what's your thought
Yeah,
about this? How they are
I
balance? Yeah.
yeah, I think it's really interesting when you at least say to people, okay, take them with you. What are the plans in the organization? I think that's the first thing that you need to do, so everyone understands what kind of people we're going to start with, what kind of data we're going to work. But you need to have like boundaries, like data boundaries there. For example, saying we put Microsoft Purview on it, data labeling, and sensitivity labels as well. So you can think about that, saying this kind of scenarios we're going to start already, or with this kind of agents affect this kind of data, and there we're going to put this kind of labels in. I need to say also adoption is there really important, that people really understand why you're doing that. And you can think about role access as well. So role-based access on different kind of agents that you're going to build. What kind of person can be involved in there? And yeah, I think it's mostly really important to that everyone knows what can we really use and what can we not use. So it's about the responsibility from the people itself,
Yeah.
saying, are we putting client data in our Copilot, yes or no? Or what are the things that we are doing now at the moment? And I mostly see a lot that like, I need to say mostly like 75%, maybe it's higher at least, are already using AI tools by their private phone, or with the laptop at home, or because they are not allowed to use it on the work environment. And I think it's really important that you talk with your organization, saying this is the roadmap that we have, this is are the people that we're going to start, this is are the next steps that we want to do inside of governance, security, adoption, and this is what we're going to do there, and this is what you can do and cannot do. At least start with, for example, like the Copilot free chat, to say, okay, it's in our environment and you can use your data there now as well. It's in all your applications in the Microsoft Office as well. Of course, it's not in the graph, so that's still a thing why you need a licensing. But I think yeah, adoption is there as well, key, that everyone knows why, where we are, what are the next steps, how we want to do it. And maybe it's a little bit offside of this question, but one of the things that I really like what we're doing with some of our clients is that we do a drag and dance show. So you can think about that you say, for the first prize we give 30,000 euros, the second prize 20,000 euros, and the third prize we give like 10,000 euros. Then everyone knows that we are going to invest in like agents, and saying this is a really solution, and there is some money that we really want to put on the table, and we have a partner with us who are helping as well building the agents in the right and security wise way. I think that's really important, because a lot of organizations starting by themselves don't know what to do, how to build it in a responsible way. What you also then can do is thinking about a jury that you have, like the CFO, the CEO, now, different kind of people in the jury. You can as well ask Microsoft or Chief Copilot to involve as well. And what you can see then is that you have different people in the organization thinking about what are the things that we really need now, what are really helps us. And then you don't have like 3 agents, for example, that you can think about, but you have like 25 agents with solutions that you can build on the upcoming months. But now everyone understands the focus is the top 3, and everyone can vote and say, okay, this is what we need to be done now, because it's making our organization better. This is the highest priority because it's making our organizations better. And if you have like the C-level on board and they are as well in the jury, everyone understands why they choose that. And again, you have that leadership involved. That is really crucial in this new way of working, or the technology part that we are now. So yeah, a little bit off topic, but I think when you say, okay, this is what we're going to do, this kind of people going to work, this is why I need it, this is why our team need it, that will help as well when you're thinking about security framework and saying, this is what we're going to do with security, this is what we're going to do with governance, and this is how we measure our success, and as well looking at what kind of tools we use and we don't use. AI, Microsoft, or other kind of third-party tools.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And Femke, I need to echo with what you said, right? Like, for example, starting slow in an organization, just giving them access to the agent builders, making them play around with that, and then bringing them into like a business unit wise champions, going
Yeah,
ahead and check what use cases they can, I mean, think of having Copilot can be used for, and then have a development team help their business champions to build some solutions through Copilot Studio, and then slowly start integrating with the applications, right? And again,
yeah,
the responsible AI is really key again to understand what they do with that solution, right? So probably they have to
true.
understand if there are any decisions that the AI is going to make will have an impact directly on someone, right, in terms of monetary benefit or any decisions in terms of the career. So that needs to be considered as well. That's another challenge which we see, and probably that's where we have come up with like kind of a Gen AI tribe, where every solution has to go through a particular forum, and then they decide which solution would fit in, whether it
Will
is
be.
RAI. So all those controls would be there in that layer, so that every solution runs through that. And
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
I
and uh, sorry,
And
Gokul. And have you seen any, I mean, data as a challenge when it comes to AI adoption? Because often on the underlying data is not clean or structured properly, right? Like the AI tools might not work as expected. So, what are the challenges that you have seen with the other organizations?
yeah, I think I've seen that uh, a lot when people think they get ROI out of Copilot, but the data is not structured that well, or they have too much data, or the data is not the less data that they really wanted to pick up by Copilot. So yes, I think that's something that really happening a lot. You see as now like the knowledge agents is coming there. That's a solution that I think that's important, that organizations really going to use that, where you can see this is our the metadata that we have that also helps Copilot to get better performance. As well, the links that are there were all sometimes shared with people who are now coming up and saying, okay, this links doesn't work anymore, or which people are shared. And I think you need to think about like your data quality. In particular, always you need to think about your data quality, not only by using now with Copilot, because all the things coming up, of course, and you want to have the best results, but I think it's something that organizations continues need to do by thinking, okay, what kind of data do we have still here? Can we clean it up? Like with a policy around after a project, we say we clean it up after a year, for example. I don't know if we want that. Or all data around products that you say, okay, we doesn't use this anymore. We can clean it up for now, because otherwise Copilot will use it. Another thing is that you see when you have like champions, you can give them as well a role in this. That you can say, okay, we all have the responsibility to have good data in our organization and get the most out of it. And when you have champions in your organization, mostly they are all over the organization with different kind of roles. So I think that's something that you can discuss there as well, that there is responsibility for the users, for the champions, to clean up the right data there. And I think it's in like you have your governance, for example, with teams. I think that's as well a thing that you can think about. Are you going to share it externally? Are you going to use it internally? What kind of data are you going to share with your customer? What kind of Teams meetings do you have, and how long do you keep them, or are you going to lead them after 30 days? That's all kind of things that Copilots will affect when you say we had a meeting and I really still want to have the data from the meeting that I had with a customer. So we need to think about that kind of rules as an organization, and what kind of people with what kind of teams, what they need to do, get most out of Copilot in this kind of way. And data, yeah, it's the most important thing there to get the right data out of it. And yeah, there are some tools that you can say, okay, we want to have a report with which person have their can go to which kind of data. I see some organizations stopping and saying, okay, first we need to have the data in place before we can make next steps. But there are other solutions as well to saying, okay, we put a search out of it, or we saying we put some labeling in place for this kind of roles of this kind of data. So I think organizations are sometimes scared, yeah, it's good to again have a good roadmap and seeing what do we want to achieve, what is our ROI, and which data need to be in place there.
Perfect. So,
Long
one thing,
story.
No, but that's important, right? Like, so very, that's what we want to know the perspective from your end. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry, Gokul. Yeah.
so right now the product is matured when it comes to people started using it. But when Copilot was launched 2.5 years back,
Yep.
um, it was not very well. It's not a mature product, and when people
True.
started exploring it, people had so much of problem with the data that it generates, and also it sometimes it gets hallucinated as well, right?
Yep.
That actually shake the trust on the product.
Mm-hmm.
So, but now after the 2 years journey, how do you see people? How much people trust Copilot? So do you see that people started trusting it, or still people are in the isolation state, whether should they really trust the product or not? Since you're very close to the technology and close to the people, would like to understand how people see the product now.
Yeah. I think this is an awesome question because like a lot of this is like what's really happening. You see organizations like 2 years ago really enthusiastic and think, okay, we need to start with this, and we give not that much licensing, probably a few in organizations so people can test. Mostly the people who are IT minded people who get a licensing, and then not always the vision decision makers who are really has the licensing. But when you see now, like 2 years ago, 2 years almost, we see a lot of change. We see, like in the beginning, it was high expectations. I think as well from marketing perspective, Microsoft do a really great job. Sharing all the things, what is new, all the things that is every day coming out. And I think there is, I don't want to say it that way, but I don't have another word for it. But I think there's a technology war somewhere, like that we say we have so many competitors, we need to share it loudest how good we are, what we can do, and we are the best in this kind of technology at the moment. And what we also see is that what people are saying that it's coming is still not there in the product. This is also a little bit confusing, right? So if we say this is a new technology, what is coming out, for example, like the knowledge agent that I mentioned, yes, you can have it, but you need to PowerShell it, and then you need to do all kind of stuff to get it really in your tenant. It's not that it's tomorrow in your tenant, or in the US it's probably 1 month before, then it's come in the UK, yay, earlier, and then it's after that it's come in the Netherlands. So people are so confused, when can I use it, when it's something available for me as well. So from marketing perspective, showing what's coming, then the real world understanding, searching for it, cannot find it as well, then it's really understandable what the product is and how it works for you as a person. I think that's something that's crazy in this world, that people can keep up, but as well don't understand what all the things new is, and so many things. The other thing is, by the products, I see that a lot of organizations are using the products and getting training around it by you can summarize this call, for example. And that's as well what I see, that people that there have their expectations. But I think we all need to learn that this is a new way of working by thinking ahead. And now Microsoft has as well a lot of features in there that you actually really can do that. So for example, when we have a meeting with each other, I can get out a transcript of that. And when we have this podcast, probably you want to push something on LinkedIn as well on it. And you also want to put something on your website, for example. So what you can do is, when you have a meeting, you can download the transcripts, go to your chat, and ask, I have an awesome conversation today with Femke. I just say it's awesome, but it can be. Please give me the top 5 decision things that we discuss, and what my audience really want to know about. That's thinking ahead of next steps. What people actually do is that they have a meeting and they say, summarize this meeting. But what you're really missing is the gold in it, because you don't say, I want 5 topics on it and want it in this kind of audience, and this is what I want to achieve with it, because I want that people really want to listen to this podcast. So I think the technology is evolving. I think Microsoft is pushing with all kind of new features in it, and it's wonderful. But I think that we as a human missing the real part is that we need to think 5 steps what we really want to achieve with the way that we're working with. Now with ChatGPT 5, also memory, you see so many better results than 2 years ago. So yeah, I don't, of course I'm Chief Copilot, but I'm still, I'm really happy with the product. For example, and I think it's a lot of money, like $30, but for example, one of the things that is for me, what I do every day is I have my email, and I don't really use Copilot there. First, I do like a microphone, and I say, this is what I want to say about this email, and then I put Copilot over it. So I use the microphone, and then I put the button Copilot. But you can imagine, I'm from the Netherlands, and my English, probably you say, okay, it's fine, but I'm not always that confident with sending an email to. Speaking is different than so it costs me a lot of time to do that. So if I say I want an email, it needs to be for leadership. This is what I really want to achieve. This is the tone of voice. And then I put it on that Copilot there, and I say as well, and it looks as well to the other conversation that we already have. Then I think, what are we talking about? 30 euros? This is changing my life. Why is everyone thinking so big? This is already changing my life. I will pay it by myself if I doesn't get any licensing. So it's like the ROI. Everyone has something, I think, that will be really changing their life by using Copilot. And for some of that is saying, we have a meeting and I need to prep our presentation, and I already have an outline. I have already some speaker notes because I had a 45-minute with the customer, and I can make next steps, and I really deep dive in that. The other thing is building an agent because you want to have better you want to have better solutions or better communication with your customer, or you want to have HR problems that you have now, a lot of questions that you can get there, and people get better informed, and that you have happier colleagues in your organization. And yeah, I think the quality goes better and better. But the real thing is that we really need to understand that it's our way of working that needs to change, and
Yeah.
it's not the features that constantly
Yeah.
come up. It helps us, but we need to understand that we need to do different kind of work for everyone, all of us. We need to have different kind of work in the future.
Yeah, I strongly agree with you. Even though the product is evolving every day and Microsoft is putting all their effort to reach their product to everyone, the most important thing is the new ways of working has changed the whole picture, right? So people have to start working the new ways, or start adopting the new ways, and they have to move forward with the technology.
True, true. And I think it's also, when you're thinking about ROI, how can you get the ROI out of Copilot if you don't change your way of working? It's also interesting to think about that, because we all want that ROI. That's the most important thing that everyone is saying at the moment. What's the ROI of Copilot? But if you use it to summarize it, for example, this little feature, then it's okay, you have some ROI. But if you don't understand that the bigger picture is much bigger than that you get so much more out of it, I think that's a real game changer.
That's good.
Yeah, I think as we are talking about game changes, right? Like I think Microsoft is pushing the Copilot free version as well for the unlicensed users, right? Like making that urge to start using Copilot, and then
Yeah,
that would drive you into a licensed version, right? And then even you get into the licensed version, there are like a lot of these predefined agents, right? Like researcher, analyst. We were talking about summarizing, right? Like facilitator has come in, right? Like it's a great help where you even notifies you like you're halfway into the meeting, like what do you want to do, and then you can ask facilitator to take some notes and a lot of things, and even interpreter, which you were talking about,
yeah,
language, right? So uh, earlier people had a lot of third party tools where they have to submit the transcript, then they convert it into a different language, then they have to respond it back, so you do it live on the go. So that's where you have to understand, I mean, there might be third party tools which you can replace with Copilot, and then
yeah,
see what those are, and then see if you can take out, for example, researcher and analyst, right? So how much of money some organization has to spend to put in a resource or get into that,
true.
and also the time
And
it takes. Yeah.
I think the future will look like, if you think about Microsoft is saying the UI for AI, I think Copilot will be always a starter in the future. That you say, okay, we put our HR system in it, and I ask the agent for that I want to have a day off. I don't need to go to that HR system anymore. It's there, but I can say I have an appointment with a customer. These are the things that we discussed. I put that from my meetings, and it put it in in the CRM system. So I think that will be like, you don't have a choice. I think what
Yeah.
Microsoft already is saying, it's coming everywhere, the free version as well. But I think as well the integrations with third party tools will be more there. So um, yeah, I think when you're thinking about like productivity way, or that's going to be massive in the upcoming time. And we talk now a little bit more like from personal productivity way, but when you're thinking about the agents part, you say, okay, I have my own agents, and a lot of people thinking about their own agents that they can use. But if you scale that higher and saying, but what are the agents that we really need with our team, then you need to think about how you can not only, who is responsible for that agent, what kind of agents do we need in this team to help us to do better work. And that can be like a project agent, or that you can think about a lot of things, or just an easy agent in your SharePoint environment where you have your documents structured, so it gives you better data as well when you say this is only look at this kind of data. But we as a person as well need to understand how we can make that agent better and get that agent updated with the right data, with the when people are still downloading or deleting some kind of things that are chasing some kind of things from the documents. But it needs to understand that this now as well working with an agent together. And then I talked about like the conversation agent, and you have your task agent. So what kind of things can that agent do for you or for your team to help you with get some work done, or when there is a question that it's can go to that third party tool to help you there. For example, the day off that I mentioned earlier. And I think I see a lot of organizations now starting as well thinking about the agents that can work with each other. So we have a product and the new product needs to be go to market, and we want to analyze it, we want to research it, we want to build something for our website, we want to totally understand how sales need to do their pitch, all kind of things to think about. And if that kind of agent is going to work with each other and you are the person, the team who need to say, okay, but this is the next step that we need to do, please give me this kind of information. A lot of people are not ready for that, and still thinking in their own agent that they can build, and not especially from the team of or results for the company that it can help. And it's a nice thing, and I think like 12 months or 16 months we all have a team of agents around us. And
Yeah. I think it's more of an
um,
initial resistance, as you were talking about, right? Like it's always that shift from one solution into another, which we have seen in the past, right? Like from on-premise Exchange to M365 or Skype on-prem into Teams. That initial
true,
resistance or hesitation was there with everyone, but over a period of time, when people start seeing the value out of it, right? This is something which cannot be
but
avoided. Yeah.
no, but there are so many organizations who still want to start with the Copilot chat, and I totally understand that because
Mm.
it's a lot of money that you need to invest, or you don't know, you think you're not ready from data governance perspective. So there are a lot of things, but please make a roadmap in in this and say, okay, we are now here. This is the steps that we wanna do, because otherwise, yes, you completely how do I say that? You you your competitors are
Will
way
be left out of.
farther.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. And then, as you said, like the orchestration is one big piece
yeah,
of thing, right? That the organization has to think about, because you cannot have everything done from one space. So the leave one, which we're talking about, so you can start looking for Copilot, asking to look into your calendar, and then your leave balance from a like a system where your payroll is there, and then we had a similar use case where it books your holiday, sends a mail to your manager, and then also it
yeah,
sets an out of office for you, right? And then it also sets a delegate for you on your SAP system. So when you are not there, someone is approving it. So you can do all this through agent orchestration as well. So that's
yeah,
where you can
true.
really see the value of investing on these
But
licenses.
here is the important thing. It's a culture change again.
Yeah,
So like it have impact in what kind of people you want to hire. It is
indeed.
impact of what kind of people you want to still have in your organization, who who need to learn as well around this, or maybe they don't, or the knowledge that's already there in the organization. How can that also come to that agent? I also hear some people who saying, I don't make an agent with my knowledge, then I know that I'm gone, right? So say that's not how
Yeah.
you need to think about it. Is we need to help you. Yeah, you can say that, but it's my
That's right.
knowledge and I don't put it in an agent.
Yeah.
So it's a culture shift that needs to be done. Otherwise, no one is moving. If you're saying we're going to start with an agent, hey, good luck for you, but it's not my knowledge that I put in there. So
Yeah.
it's a funny thing as well to think about both perspective from the people in the organization who are sometimes probably a little bit scared and thinking, okay, or it will help them that good in their job that they can say, okay, I can do the things that I really want to do now. And I give the mess things and the agents, but then you mostly of the things thinking about your way of working and not always the way of working from the team perspective and the KPIs that you have as a team, or the organization that has their the way of things that they need to achieve and what is really high on the agenda.
Yeah. So yeah, since we spoke more about implementation and how the roadmap and everything, I
Yeah,
would like to emphasize on these the blog which we recently wrote on behalf of Rockstar community, the ghosted agents, right? So the
yeah,
auditing part, when you come to anything, the auditing part is also important because people work on the agents on the development phase, and if it's not working as expected, they just remain orphaned there. Like it
yeah.
just remains. There's no, they are the ghosted agents in our environment, and it's actually a security threat also, right? So what's your thought about this, Femke? Like, have you come across this, or how do you think
Yeah.
they can be managed?
Yeah, I think I need to say there are some organizations who have a lot of agents already and are lost in what kind of agents, which persons have access to these agents, but as well what kind of data is structured in that agent. There are some new things coming out from Microsoft perspective that is with reporting that you can see what kind of agents are there. And that you can manage them so that you can see what kind of agents are being used and what is the last time that it's been used and what kind of people are there involved with. So I think there will be some new features as well will helping in that, but it's really need to understand that you cannot make an agent just make an agent because you want to make an agent. I think it's really, and I think Microsoft is pushing that make an agent is really easy, you can do it, but you absolutely need to understand that a good adoption and a way of working and updating the agents, and it needs to be involving, especially it needs to be your next team lead, team person in you. So it's, you need to keep updating it, and you need
Maybe
to
a auditing agent should come up.
yeah, and you can think about that. Yeah, to build something, what kind of things are we missing in our organization? But another thing that I see now, and that's where I'm working on at the moment, is that I see that there are some organizations who saying we have some data from the Viva Insights dashboard, and there is now as well the agent part in it. So what you can see is that you get some information around there, around the ROI. So how many people are using this agent, what kind of time solving is founded there. So it's not really that people, but more on team structure. So that's as well really interesting, but you need to have your organization as well ready in Entra ID. That's, you need to have it structured to understand the data. So I think that's the next step that we're going to see more and more. That's there will be some consultancy needed to get everything in place. Some reporting to understand what is already there. And the other thing that I'm really going to see is that when we're going from like the server to the cloud, everyone is uploading all the documents, all places, and I think a lot of organizations still have that problem there, and have a problem new with Copilot as well. But then you saw like version 1, version 2, version 3, and everyone separate uploaded that. Now you have like in SharePoint some version history, right? So you have a lot of version history there. And we needed to do like the thing that happened is that people needed to pay for SharePoint because there have so many documents in it, and it's growing and it's growing and it's growing. I think the next thing that we're going to see now with the agents part is that everyone is building agents, putting data in there from different kind of SharePoint sites, and everyone will be lost. And there will be a new solution that we need to say, hey, we're going to help you with the governance around it, agents, with the reporting, with the data, and the adoption. Because if everyone is going to build it by themselves, putting some documents that are straight away in the organization, then we have a problem at longer term, and maybe a bigger problem that people can see now, because they all making a agent with the best intents and saying it's going to help them. But if that scenario that they are thinking about is critical, then we have a real problem at some point. So the ghosts, yes, they are really important, but I think as well the agents that are now alive need to be in place. And the last thing that I want to say about that is that there are a lot of people in different kind of organizations are really enthusiastic around MD5, but not always enthusiastic about Copilot or agents, but are technical people. So who are going to really clean this up, or who is responsible for this? And I think that's as well that we need to think about the human part, who is the adoption part, the person part, but as well the admin of that tenant need to make steps. And then we're going back to the beginning where we say, but this is a leadership thing. This is a leadership choice with all the things that we're doing. So it feels a little bit like a messy story, but it's a messy world at the moment where we're in.
Yeah, I would like to ask a last question as a continuation of what you said. So I can hear people talking about new ways of working, Microsoft Copilot, agents, adoption, and also on the security and governance side. But I have never heard people talking on the supportability. So when the adoption grows in an organization, we also have to think about the supportability within the organization. So not every time we reach out to Microsoft or anything. So as a first point of contact, administrators will be the one who will be contacted. And when adoption is more, when we get more agents, then supportability becomes a challenge for every organization, right? So
Yes.
how do you see this, and is organization really talking about it? Because I never hear and I never heard people talking about supportability, because people start talk more about the adoption side, but this is something I
Because
feel less concentrated.
I think that's what's coming into market right now, right? It's like everyone can do it, everyone can make it, everyone can do it by themselves. So I think that's the thing that we see a lot in the market right now, and people going to start and going to do that. But I think the role as an IT admin and as a CISO is completely going to change in now and as well so many months. So I think it's the combination of that. The role of the user is going to change. We're using Copilot and AI, but as well the administration role will be changed, because a lot of the things also going to be from an AI perspective in the different kind of things that they did like years ago. But as well, the governance and the security wise will be changed there. And I think it's an interesting time that we are in. That's for sure, because everyone's role going to change. And I think it's for everyone. Let it be the lesson for everyone to think about where they want to in right now, because in the upcoming 3 or 6 months, for everyone, the job title or role will be changed in somehow kind of way. And if that's the admin part, or it's your way of working as a marketeer, or your way of working as an administrator, but choose where you want to sit and how you are involving in this, because yeah, I think as well for a lot of CISOs and that kind of job titles, absolutely going to change a lot. And I see that as well from the communication, from what's new is new. This is how you can implement it. You don't have to do for all the features a lot of implementation. It's going to be easier as well. It's going to fit in the tenant as well. And the changes are a lot. So you need to understand what's new, what's the impact in the organization, how we can implement it, how we can work it together with the adoption part. And people get confused by a lot of things that is going to happen and what is the so for I think for the end of this I just want to say it's mostly important to have a good strategy is the important thing, thinking about what are the results of the organization and how can we get there the most out of it, and then you can say this is what we're going to do. We're going to train our admins, our CISO need to be updated. This is our adoption that we're going to do for our users. This is all the scenarios that we want to do, and how can we measure the ROI from the data, but as well the satisfaction of the users. And I think if you're doing that in the right way, you are far ahead in everything what you do, because you don't have to update all the things in your tenants. You don't have to have all the users on board who are there, but you have the mostly impacted there with the highest, best kind of results that you want.
Yeah, thanks, Femke. I think you really summarized very well from the conversations which we had, like to have that leadership sponsor and then starting slow, have that champions, right? And then identify the use cases, look out for the orchestrations, and then looking for the ROI. Not immediately as soon as you assign the license, you cannot go into that. And time really flies when we are deep in technical conversations and
Yeah,
thinking of the future of work. It's always energizing to share insights and learn from each other, right? And
true.
Femke, it's been truly insightful exploring your journey as well in technology and understanding your thoughts on Copilot.
Thank
We
you.
really thank from Modern Minds for sharing your experiences and perspectives with us. It was really, really helpful. I'm
Thank you
sure
so
our
much.
paths will cross again in future, right? Until then, we wish you a lot of continued success.
Thank you so much. Thanks for
Thank
having
you
me.
so much, Frankie, for your valuable time. Yeah, it was very
Thank you.
informative. Thank you.
To you.